She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We hope that today you're already having a better day than what you thought you were going to have. We're very blessed that you decided to join us. Here, we are going to hear two stories today that I believe are going to inspire you. I think they're going to maybe put some fire underneath your feet, maybe even in your heart. Because here on the Dani Johnson Show every day, we tackle topics and bring you information to help you succeed better in your life. I know that you want to do greater things. I know that you want your life to be different tomorrow than it is today. I know that you want things to improve and get better and increase. And that's why you're tuning in every single day here to the Dani Johnson Show, where we help you to define success for you. And I'm not saying I make the definition for you. You have to decide what success means to you, because society is working hard to define it for you. And their definition of success might be your definition of absolute failure. I'm certain that their definition of success, society's definition of success, it comes with a lot of pressure and sacrificing your family and sacrificing your health to become more successful. And I'm here to tell you that that is not what you have to do. So joining me today is a young woman, Lindsay Krause. We met her not too long ago. She's a part of the client base of DaniJohnson.com, a First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty graduate who was struggling financially and struggling in business and not being able to figure out how to make it succeed. Although she watched others succeed, she was feeling like she was the one that was going to fail continuously. And so joining us now, Lindsay Krause from South Dakota, a very cold place during the winter. Lindsay, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you, Dani.
So good to have you here. Congratulations again. I just saw you recently. Your little baby girl is just gorgeous. Of course, you and your husband are absolutely gorgeous. But congratulations, man. I remember when we all heard that you were pregnant, and then when you had the baby, I'm just super, super excited for you. Your life has come a long, long way than when you first heard about DaniJohnson.com. So tell us about what life was like before you plugged in to First Steps to Success.
Well, prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, I was fresh out of college. I had a boyfriend who's my husband at the time, and I was a new entrepreneur. So I was striving for success and unknowingly controlling and manipulative along the way. I was pretty much exhausting all of my efforts, all of my time, all of my energy in order to make this work. And I really couldn't figure out why my husband now, but my boyfriend at the time, kind of resented my business and was really jealous, as he put it, of the time that I was spending in it and things of that nature. So I found the First Steps to Success in Creating a Dynasty system because I found it as a common link between the top people in my company. And I thought that was going to be the link to my missing success. Why couldn't I find it and keep it? It just felt like it kept running away from me. And so I plugged in and I found way more than what I thought I was going to find. And my life really hasn't been the same ever since. We've paid off $45,000 worth of consumer debt in the last year and a half. Our income has grown by 823%. We have an investment property. We have $10,000 in savings. We're expecting our second child.
What?
Happily married. And we've put together a group of people online that have also paid off $1.2 million worth of debt, all in the last year and a half. So a lot has changed in the last year and a half.
Wow.
In the last 3 years. Yes.
That's amazing. Okay, let's go here. Gosh, congratulations, by the way, on a second. I didn't even know you were pregnant again. How awesome is that? And it has to feel like incredible to have gone from a failing business to growing it by over 800%, which is amazing, to find those kinds of solutions. But Lindsay, let's talk about those earlier days where you're working hard, you're frustrated, you feel like you're manipulating people. You didn't didn't know that you were manipulating people, and just not succeeding. Did you at any point encounter wanting to quit and thinking, you know, I'm not cut out for this. It's not going to work for me. It's never going to happen. Did you ever encounter thoughts like that?
Yes, many times. Many different times. There was actually one particular time that we were living in Denver. We had moved from South Dakota to Denver because we thought we were medium fish in a small pond. We were searching for bigger and better things. And I had made the decision for our business to be our sole source of income. So now we had moved to a different place. Wow. This business was our only source of income. We lived in a 700 square foot apartment. We were paying $1,200 a month in rent. And I was sitting in front of my computer for 10 hours a day, trying to grow a business, really striving and exhausting my efforts. And there was a period of time where I just chucked it all to the side. There was 2 months where I didn't do anything. I sat on the couch and I didn't think it was worth it. It really was not worth it at the time for what I was putting in.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, man, you majorly increased your expenses by moving from South Dakota, which I'm sure the rent is not $1,200 a month for a 700 square foot apartment over there. So you're back in South Dakota.
Yes, ma'am.
That was wise. Very, very, very wise. To keep your expenses down, and it's a familiar place for you. But anyway, so during that time, 2 months, are you just like, forget about it, man, this isn't working, and I'm ready to throw in the towel. When you came to First Steps to Success, what was one of the first things that you changed, that you implemented, that brought the change in your business?
I surrendered control of my life and my business to my God, who I was introduced to that first steps, and submitted to his guidance and his leadership. And I still every single day ask for him to make my to-do list, because there's nothing I can do or say that's going to make a difference today. And I'm really just exhausted of trying to do what the world thinks is right, and worldly success versus God's success. And I really want to work at a pace, especially now that we're expecting our second baby. I can't have all that pressure on my back, and I don't want all that pressure, because I have priorities that need me. Yes.
Okay, now this is incredible. So you were introduced to your God at First Steps to Success, and you surrendered your life to him and began to walk with him, and that's when your life began to change. So did you feel like a peace that came into your life as a result of that?
Yes.
And so now you go back to working your business. And did you learn any other skills at First Step Success that you implemented? Obviously, getting your spiritual life in order is really important, because when you're working a business with stress and control and manipulation and fear and force, no one wants to work with you. And 93% of all communication is so powerful. 93% of all communication is nonverbal. And so if you're listening right now and you're going to work right now, or you're at work already, and maybe work is home, or it is in a physical building, or away from home, whatever it is, understand this one important thing. 93% of all communication is nonverbal. 7% is verbal. So what's going on inside of your heart, what's going on inside of your mind, controls your tone, it controls your facial expressions, it controls your body language, it controls everything. And so what was being communicated, even though Lindsay was promoting a product, a business that she's excited about, the bottom line was what she was really promoting was how to work 10 hours a day in frustration, trying to control everyone that was around her and manipulating people to try to get them to do what she wanted. So even though the presentation for the product could have been all the right words, the 93% nonverbal communication twists the words. It changes the equation altogether. And so it's like this. This is the best way I can explain it. I was actually working with somebody yesterday about this very same thing. If we have kids and they're old enough to talk. They're old enough to lie. That's pretty much how it is. And some lie a lot, and some don't, depending on personality. There's a certain personality, it's like lying, it's just not in their DNA. They just can't do it. And if they try, they're terrible at it, and everyone knows that they're lying. But there's this other personality that they're pretty darn good at lying, really good at it. But still, a parent knows when they're being lied to. They know. They can feel it. They see the words, and right away, hey, who did this? Who dropped this milk on the floor? I didn't do it. I didn't. It wasn't me. Right away. No, it was her. And I've got 6 grandkids. I get to have them over a lot, and my daughter and her husband, they travel a lot, so I get to keep them for a week at a time, which is like such a precious time for me. And it's amazing to watch this whole thing happen. No, I think Haley did it. Okay, so did your eyes physically see Haley do it? No. Then how do you know that Haley? I just think she did. Oh, so you're accusing your sister of doing something that you did not physically see that she did it. And it turned out the one who accused was the one who did it, okay? Landon was the one who did it. Haley didn't, and Landon's lying, okay? So we as parents, or it's just as humans, we can discern. We know when someone is saying something that doesn't match their body language, their tone, or their whatever. Okay, and my grandson Landon, for example, his mouth changes. It completely goes. Who has those lips? Oh, my friend Stephen Baldwin. My friend Stephen Baldwin, every time he takes a picture of somebody, he does a strange thing with his lips. Anyway, but Landon, his lips, they totally change when he's lying. And I'm like, oh, Landon, you're doing that thing with your lips. You're lying. I know you're lying because you're doing this thing with your lips. So we all know when someone is lying to us. And so that's the 93% nonverbal. That's what we're picking up on. We're picking up the nonverbal communication that somebody is doing with us. And so when you're working and you're trying to build a business and you're working with fear or doubt, or in Lindsay's case, control, and force, right? She's trying to force something to happen. That's actually what she really was communicating, even through her fingertips, because she had an online business. So even through her fingertips, what she's communicating is, I'm stressed out. You need to do this. You need to follow me. Why won't you follow directions? Okay? She's frustrated. She's mad. She's controlling. And who wants to work with that? Nobody. Nobody wants to buy your frustration, your control, your manipulation. No one wants to buy your pressure. Nobody wants to buy that. They have enough of their own of that. They don't need to purchase a product to have more of it. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more with Lindsay Krause right after this.
Lindsay's story isn't over. Find out what she did that changed the entire course of her life and business. It's coming up next on The Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
There's nothing like finding something that changes everything. And that's exactly where Lindsay Krause found herself not too long ago when she found her God at a first steps to success. Lindsay, I love your story to going from being frustrated and angry and controlling, working 10 hours a day in front of the computer, trying to make your internet business work, and it's just flopping and failing all over the place. You come out to First Steps and you get introduced to a spiritual life, a walk with your Father in heaven, and an understanding of who He is and how He feels about you and how He loves you. And so you went from that controlling to a woman with some peace and taking pressure off yourself, and then your business grows by 800%. I love it when we can make the choice to make our spiritual lives right and to make our life right with our Father in heaven, and allowing Him to teach us and allowing Him to lead us so that we're not the person in control all the time. And there's just a peace that comes over us, and then we all of a sudden become much more attractive to other people. So let's talk about, how does it feel today to have paid off $42,000 worth of debt, to have $45,000 in investments, to have an investment property, $10,000 in the bank. You're still so young. You and your husband are still so young. You guys also learned at First Step Success with War on Debt how to pay cash for your wedding, which was so smart, right? Instead of going $20,000 in debt that I'm sure some of your college friends have done. I'm sure some of your college friends spent 20 grand on their wedding, or even up to 50 grand for their wedding. And wow, starting off with a giant mortgage for one single day without a house to show for it, which is sad. But how does that feel to have that plan, to have that War on Debt plan that has helped you to pay off all that debt? How does it feel to have paid off all that debt and to have your business grow 800%?
It feels great. It feels great. It feels good to have a plan and to know what's working. And we were blessed in our obedience, but I will tell you that I'm not prone to relapse. We actually swallowed a stupid pill when we got pregnant with our first child, and fell back into the majority mindset of thinking that we needed this and we needed that. And we just kind of I thought that the financial laws no longer applied to me. Right? I'm pregnant. I need to eat more. We need this gadget. We need a new crib. We need this and that. And so we fell back into the majority mindset for a few months. And it was until this last event in San Antonio that I was, I like to call it, slapped back into reality. Some of us need a little bit more of a bold direction, and that's what I need, and that's what I got. And so we're back on our War on Debt track. I had to ask for forgiveness from the group that we're leading because I was not setting a good example, and we've paid off $3,000 since San Antonio.
So that's in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you paid off $3,000 worth of debt.
Yeah. Back on track, and that feels good to know that it's working again, and to know that we have something that works.
Yes. And man, look at the price of unplugging, right? It'd been a while since you had attended First Steps to Success, and how easy it is to fall off the wagon, if you will, and to put yourself in a bad situation like that. Yeah. But again, isn't it awesome? And how redeeming He is, that even when we swallow a giant stupid pill and we start, coming into that place where 98%ers live of, I got to have this and I got to have this and I got to have that and I got to do this. you know, if you hang out with people that are like that, you become people like that, which is another thing that's really important. And that is that birds of a feather flock together. And if we're not flocking with the right group of people, we are definitely going to fall into the traps of their way of living, way of spending, way of making decisions. Lindsay, I got to tell you, I'm really proud of you that you humbled yourself to go back to your group that you're leading, that 150 people that you're leading to pay off debt, and how you kind of fell off the wagon. But for you to take, you could have just like not said anything to them about that. You could have just like, you know, pretended like you were on track, like most leaders do. They pretend like they are. But instead, girl, you did the right thing, the godly thing, by going and being transparent before them and saying, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I have not been setting a good example. I fell off the wagon. I swallowed a giant stupid pill. And, well, I've corrected that. We've paid off $3,000 worth of debt in the last 2 weeks, which is awesome. There needs to be more leaders out there, Lindsay, like you. There truly does. And I'm really proud of you. You've learned how to become a wife. You learned how not to be the head of the household. I remember our coaching appointment that we had about a year ago was about that very thing. Of let your husband learn to lead, honey. It will relieve you tremendously. So I'm really proud of you to see you form into a wife and a mother, a great business person, a great leader in your community, and you're doing great things. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First steps to success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name's Derek, and this is my wife, Michelle, and we're the Holland Sheds. We live in Covina, California, about 45 minutes from here, and we're extremely honored to be able to share our story. And when we were approached about it, I was kind of thinking, well, where do I start? Where do we start? But I'm going to start a few years back before there was a Michelle and Derek. Actually, I was actually debt-free, you know, and kind of going along pretty good. And then a funny thing happened. I got married, and I married into debt. And you know, okay, you know, we're going to do fine. We'll pay it off, and life will be good. But a funny thing happened was that didn't seem to happen. Yeah, and as a result, it, you know, just kind of thinking it's going to happen, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and something always happens, and and the result is, debt doesn't get paid. So, it starts becoming like an old friend, and then unfortunately the marriage failed, but I was able to meet Michelle, and we got married, and well, married into debt again. only now it's a little bit bigger, but at least the house that I had, this was during the housing boom, so you use some of the equity in the house to pay that debt off, and okay, we got a clean state. Let's go forward. And but in our early days in our marriage, we had some difficulty as far as being on the same page financially, and Michelle will share a little bit more about that. And I guess it's a good point for me to hand it over to her.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Like Derek said, honestly, you guys, the first 7 years of our marriage, when I came into our marriage, Derek he paid my debt off. And I ran our debt up 3 different times in the first 7 years of our marriage, you guys. I would have never imagined being in that spot. Derek didn't trust me. And I finally got to a place where, my gosh, I can't keep doing this. I was pretty much told to come to this event by a good friend of mine, and it was the best thing she could have said to me because it's what I needed. I would have not have come had I not have had that charge and challenge that way. The moment I got here and we saw the war, I saw the war on debt, I said, this is it. This is our ticket. This is what's going to help us go to the next level. This is what's going to help us. You guys, we've since in 33 months, we have paid off over $159,000 worth of debt. We have money in savings. We have $300,000 in assets, income-producing assets. We continue to plug in. I was the first one to come, but immediately afterwards, I told my husband I couldn't wait. I called him. I told him about War on Debt. He immediately said, let's do it. We had some friends that hosted a War on Debt class there right after, and we went to it, and we found $502 worth of excess spending our first month, and we revisited our budget after that, and then we thought we were just broke, living paycheck to paycheck. We were overwhelmed. We felt hopeless. I never would have thought I would lose my husband's trust, and the techniques, the strategies that Dani Johnson teaches you guys helped us save our marriage, our finances, our communication. You guys, we started out with, my favorite product is spiritual equipping, and I know Darren has a favorite product.
We're on debt, and you think?
And you guys, we kind of bought things one by one. However, you guys have a great opportunity outside that door, that table out there, where you can buy the whole DJ University curriculum, and you get almost $1,000, over $1,000 off. So you have either option, but that's a great opportunity for you. Don't let anything stop you guys. There is hope, there is life, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here. So without further delay, you guys, help us welcome back America's favorite millionaire and our mentor and coach, Dani Johnson.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Have you ever been in a situation where you are working like so many hours and you are feeling like everything is falling on you, that there's no one you can trust to help you, there's no one that can help carry the load, but that all of the responsibility is falling on you and you're carrying this outrageous heavy burden and you just feel like you're going to break? This is a very similar place where Chris Stallings found himself. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Today we are talking about your success and helping you figure out a path that works for you. You see, our society has groomed us to believe that success means working 60, 80 hours a week, sacrificing our families to buy big houses, fancy cars, and to live the life that everyone else is jealous of. But are people jealous of a 60 or 80-hour work week? Are people jealous of a giant mortgage that goes with that giant house? Are people jealous of the giant car payment and the expensive upkeep of that car, the maintenance that costs more money because you bought a German vehicle? Are people really jealous of the giant debt that is on all the credit cards that is causing you to lose sleep at night? No, people don't want any of that nonsense. But I think it's so interesting that somebody somewhere, some big kingmaker somewhere, decided to give you and I a definition of success that really just in turn is bondage. This is where so many people find themselves. And this is why this show exists, to help you come out of that kind of bondage, that kind of lie, and to find success for yourself. You have a personal definition of success. Yes, you do. No, Dani, I wish no, yes, you do. You just match it up to what society tells you success looks like. And you're like, oh gosh, I'm not successful because it doesn't look like this. I want you to define it for you. I want you to say, man, what matters to me? What are my priorities? What's more important to me than money? Because some things are more important than money. When you chase money, it runs from you. When you don't chase it, it seems to come from all over the place, out of the woodworks, and chase you down, which creates some new and exciting challenges like, what do I do with it all? I'm looking forward to the day that's where you find yourself. Joining us today is Chris Stallings, a precious, precious man, businessman, father, adoring husband of his beautiful wife. He's a client who has come about a year ago, more of a fresh, newer client. And I'm excited for him to share his story with you. He's going to inspire you. He's going to encourage you. He's got a message in his mouth that I believe is so very timely. I believe that if you're a man or a woman, something's going to get stirred in you because he's a man of courage who was once defeated. And you're going to learn something from the story that he's about to tell. Chris, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you. So tell us your story. Let's just do the brief version of it, and then I'm going to get in and dissect it and ask you a bunch of questions.
Yeah, so I would say that before I started attending events and listening to some of your counsel, I thought I had a pretty good life, right? I mean, things were crazy, but I thought that was the normal. Mm-hmm. And doing what I do for a living, I try to manage my time well and manage my money well. But after coming to the first event, which was actually, believe it or not, this July will be 2 years ago. It took me a little bit of time to come back and make a one-year commitment. But after the first event, I spent the first half hour after that weekend calling my wife and crying and repenting of what a bad money manager, a bad time steward I was. It was a plumb line for me. And so it's interesting when you think things are going well, right? That you get a taste of what it should be like, and you have a hope and you have a practical way of getting there. Yeah. So a lot has changed with me in the last couple of years, especially.
You know what's so funny is that we have, because we have society's version of success, right? And they tell us, work like a slave, make lots of money, go into lots of debt, and smile and act like everything's okay. Right. Right? And that's what we do. And we don't even realize this isn't like somebody said, okay, here's what success looks like. No, but the world is telling us this picture, and the picture stinks, quite honestly. There's a price to pay behind it that's amazing. But the thing that I find so powerful about you as a man, as a father, as a husband, and a businessman is that right away you come through First Steps to Success, which is our 3-day training seminar for those who don't have any idea of what that is. It's a 3-day intensive training seminar for your career in business, for your money, how you manage your money, how you grow your money, as well as your relationships at home, as well as at work. And so you sit through those 3 days and went, whoa, I've been on the wrong track.
Yeah.
That's what you discovered in those 3 days. Now, did you discover a new track? And I love the fact that you apologized to your wife. That shows you to be a strong man, a true leader, a real godly leader, that you would call her and for 30 minutes say, please forgive me. I have been foolish financially. I've not been a good steward of my time, and you have paid the price for it. Can you, because all of us women who are listening and all of the men who are listening or watching this show right now from all over the world, can you let us in on that conversation? The guys want to know, what did you say? And the girls want to hear what you said. We want to imagine our husbands calling us and saying these words. And the men might need a little bit of coaching on how to make that phone call.
Yeah. So I'll start with the punchline, right? After about right in that 20 to 30 minute window, she actually asked me, I was driving from, I think the event was in Austin, and I was driving up to meet a client in Dallas. And she said, hey, honey, you're probably wearing your suit and tie right now, right? I said, yeah. She goes, I think you're crying so bad that you're getting tears all over your tie. It's okay. It's okay. So there's the punchline. It was not just the typical, oh, I'm sorry, like you bumped elbows with somebody passing in the mall. It was reconciliation, right? So at that point, we really didn't have debt. So you live a lifestyle that's kind of convenient. And what I told her is, after being there with you for that weekend, I said, we can do so much more with what we've been given. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And to say, look, I'm not leading you the way I need to lead you. And everything that I thought I had been doing was brought to bear. It was like it was a refining moment. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just don't honor you to the degree that I can. It's like when you're doing a good job, but you're not up to the potential that you know you're capable of, that separation was a very strong source of tension. Yeah. And it was exposed. And so I anywhere from how I managed my time to really a lack of vision for my company, how I was afraid to delegate here in the company, but also to really trust her to the level that I can, because to delegate and to really trust somebody is empowering, and I was not there for her the way I can be, right? So it's good. Like if you compare it to anybody else, you feel like you're great, and especially knowing people the way I know them, you're great. But then in that moment, it's, oh, but there's so much more. And then you taught that if you compare yourself to your previous best, you're always going to be propelled to increase in success or increase your skill set or whatever it is. So I stopped looking at who my friends are as parents or business owners. I started looking at what I know to be true and the things that you teach. It just came alive in a way. And it just came to a point where she goes, okay, enough. You're forgiven. I love you. And I think the truth of the matter is I was saying things in a way that I think it was a Tuesday morning, that she had never heard before. So it was off her grid because I had changed so much in that weekend. She didn't know what to do with it. I think that's why she just said, it's okay, stop. You're probably crying all over yourself. And I was.
Wow.
You know, so that's.
But what brought those tears?
How
did you feel about the fact that you had not been honoring her, but instead, honestly, you were controlling?
Yeah, I think the reality of the matter is it was a holy conviction. Yeah. I owe it to her to be as real as I can, to something else that I've learned since attending events, which was so good, is to elevate the covenant of marriage above the individual, two of us. And I realized that I was not cultivating a healthy marriage like a garden. I was working on me, and maybe I was doing okay, but in not elevating that marriage, I sacrificed what could have been. And it's what was lost, what could have been, that grieved me. And she was not getting what she deserved, especially in the context of my faith, right? That was part of the plumb line, is that I know better. Yeah. And I have a Savior who is patient with me at times when he shouldn't be patient with me. And when I let that be the parallel, I saw how many times I was not giving her the time she deserved, or because she didn't perform well or do something based on my expectation, I didn't give her what she deserved. So I had strings attached.
What do you mean? What do you mean you didn't give her what she deserved? What does that look like?
Ask that a different way. I'm sorry.
Was that love you weren't giving her? Was that not encouragement you were giving her? What were you not giving her that she deserved when she was falling short of your expectations?
Everything. It's like this. I would put my best into my business, and I would put my best into the people that I come into contact on a day-to-day basis.
But not into the marriage.
But not in the marriage. And again, it's because we had a good marriage. But until I started attending events and I started realizing what it should be, I mean, like, here's an example.
Okay, right? One second, because I think what's important is that we really look at the truth. Did we have a good marriage? When we return, we're going to dive into that. This is Dani Johnson.
Chris got a revelation about his life that weekend that shook him to the core. So what did he learn, and how did it change him? You might be surprised at what he shares. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job Domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
And prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling in the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Sometimes we can be riding along in life thinking everything is great, everything is fine. And then all of a sudden there is that day. Well, see, everyone else thinks I'm fine. Everyone else thinks I'm successful. Everyone else thinks we have a good marriage. Everyone else thinks everything is great. I find it interesting how many people say that. And then all of a sudden they come to that defining moment where it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Am I in denial? Am I living a lie and I don't even know it? And oftentimes people don't even ask their spouse, do you think we're doing good? Are things on track? How do you feel our marriage is? How do you feel about the way I treat you? Do you feel that I honor and respect you? Do you feel that I care about other things more than I care about you? These are really important questions to ask. Chris Stallings is joining us now. He's been a client with us for less than 2 years. Amazing man, businessman, husband, father, who was in that place just kind of throwing life together and working 60 plus hours a week and caring more about business than he did his family. A lot of people find themselves in that place. And actually, most people are doing that. They don't even realize that that's how they're doing it. Chris, you were just telling us about a conversation that you had with your wife. And after coming out of First Steps to Success, you had realized that maybe there were some things off. Now, I love the way you say this, and I'm going to kind of get in your grill a little bit, which I know you expect me to do.
I did expect this.
Oftentimes, people can think everything is great. And you said it great, that you were comparing yourself to other people's marriages. You're comparing your marriage to someone else's marriage, your business to someone else's business, and going, oh, I'm doing better than them, so I'm doing really good. But then you had that revelation that, no, you could be better, but it's also that you weren't doing things that weren't right. What were the things you were not doing right?
It's like what I said, I would give my best to the business, but not to her.
Yep.
By the time I would come home at the end of the day, I had very little left in my tank. And looking back at it, I needed to be giving my best from 6 or 6:30 on to 9 or 9:30. And I just was giving, hand-me-downs to who should be getting the best and freshest, not anyway. So
that's perfect. That's exactly how most people are. And it brings tears to my eyes because we've all done that, and it has to stop. And what that is a sign of is that business is the higher priority. Business and money is a higher priority, and strangers and coworkers are a higher priority than the wife and husband and the kids. Yeah. And so what you learned at Creating a Dynasty, first of all, you learned at First Steps, like, whoa, hold on a second. That should not be the case. I need to treat my wife better than I treat my clients. I need to treat my kids better than I treat my clients. I need to treat my marriage more important than my business, which then forced you to have to face your fears with delegating in business so that you could pull your hours back. And now be home, be present, be a father, be a husband. And so I'm so proud of you for having that revelation of like, dang, I am valuing business and money over my marriage, and this is out of order. So then you shifted it back up, and you started giving your wife the honor and respect that she deserved, the kids your time, not giving them the leftovers of the sloppy seconds, but now giving your best skill set of communication and patience, right? Gosh, right? We could be so patient with a client, right? Because we're hoping for a transaction. But when it comes to the wife or the husband and the kids, now, come on, why can't you just understand? Not only that, but we give a listening ear to our clients, right? Because we're trying to close a deal. But we don't give a listening ear to the person we share a bed with every night, or a listening ear to the children in which we birthed into the planet. They were supposed to train up and to raise up as amazing citizens of the kingdom of heaven. And so that's a powerful revelation. And I think it's a message that needs to be spoken again and again and again. So after First Steps and Creating a Dynasty, our Advanced Leadership Conference, you then took your hours from 60 hours a week down to 30. What does your life look like today?
Yeah, I'm much more available to be with my family, to have that margin of time to be able to give, and versus things being reactive. I'm able to be more proactive. I can plan, I can budget, and I can make better decisions and wiser decisions with my family, or even in business, where it was one of the accountability coaches that I got in being a part of the Dani Johnson community. Was showing me that I have no choice but to slow down from time to time. When I was arguing with him about, I'm just so busy in the very beginning, he says, you have no choice but to slow down and sharpen your proverbial saw. Yes. And so I actually saw a breakthrough with my wife a couple of Sundays ago. We've been together for about 20 years, and I saw her act like she did when she was 17 when we first met, and hope came alive in me. I was actually sick in bed, and my demeanor changed, and I thought, whatever it is that we're talking about doing, it doesn't matter. But to see that in her eye, that spark where she's coming alive and she's blooming, it's worth giving up everything that I can to see. Yes. Anyway, and to see that in my children, to actually enjoy being with them, not another task or responsibility. And am I doing a good job to just love the way we are loved by our Father? Anyway, it's powerful.
Yes.
So I don't always have words for it.
Man, yeah, I understand what you're feeling. Exactly. I have tears in my eyes. So you went from 60 hours a week down to 30 hours a week. Before, you were afraid to delegate. Now you must delegate because your family's more important. What has happened to your business as a direct result of cutting your hours back and delegating tasks?
I have greater opportunities on the horizon that I've seen in the previous 15 years of my career.
What has happened to your income?
Well, I'm right at that S-curve explosion. So I have kept my income low intentionally to be able to hire people. In the last 2 years, we've hired, by the end of this month, we will have hired 4 employees. Nice. So that's crazy growth for us. It went from 1 or 2 people, and then we'll have 8 by the end of this month.
That's so
and
awesome.
A second location. So my business is growing. My personal income I've kept low to be able to invest back in hiring and creating jobs.
That's awesome. So your business has grown as a direct result of you getting out of there.
Yes. Yeah, and since you put it that way, yeah, it's a fact.
And you know what? And this is the mistake that owners make. A mistake that they make is that they begin to hover over the business and they control everything. And they get involved in everybody's duties instead of raising up leadership to handle the duties and to lead. And so it's the reason why I don't spend much time in my office. I'm hardly ever here. I come into the studio, and that's pretty much about it to do the show. And here's why. As soon as I walk in, Dani, and they want to ask me a zillion questions. But if I'm not there, they have to ask themselves the question. They have to solve their own problem. They have to work out whatever the kink is. They have to figure it out. And so there's something very powerful, and it's part of raising up leaders, is that we have to give people the opportunity to learn, to grow. And part of learning and growing is making mistakes, falling on their face, getting their knees all bloodied up, and giving us the opportunity to say, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You're right on track. You're figuring it out. I'm so proud of you. And you're going to come to a place in your life where you say, if I don't have to do it, then it's better than me doing it. And it takes faith, man. Chris, that's what you found. It took faith for you to go, I got to get over this fear. I need to delegate. I need to sow the gifting that God has planted in me into other people and raise up other people so that A, they have opportunity, and B, I get to be the husband, the man, the father that God has created me to be. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. So what's keeping you stuck? It's time to get it out of your way for good. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Wow, what an awesome day, right? Between these two stories, if you're not adjusting your priorities to be what they need to be, your head is not screwed on straight. These two people, I'm sure, have encouraged you and inspired you from their own transparency, the humility that they have. One with Chris as a husband, man, to humble himself and to ask his wife to forgive him, to make the adjustments that he needed to put his marriage as the higher priority over his business, and his family to be more important than his business. Takes courage to do that. I hope you do that today. And same with Lindsay, right? Gosh, 10-hour days. Ugh. Just making her business her God. She finds God through first steps to success and creating a dynasty and changes everything. Listen, I want to give you some quick instructions of what you can do right now. Number one, get started today with changing your life. You're in control of it. You're making decisions every single day that are either going to result into more debt, it's going to result into more pain and suffering, more confusion, and more toxicity in relationships, as well as more of a dead-end place inside of your career. Or you're going to make new decisions, just like Lindsay, just like Chris, that made new decisions, learned new skills. They came out to a live first steps to success, and their entire lives have changed. Income has increased. Lindsay paying off all that debt and helping other people do the same. Improving their marriages, all of it. Step one, get a hold of First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy if this is your first time seeing the Dani Johnson Show. Get your free copy today by calling 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. Ask for Nate or Nellie. Both of them are ready to serve you right now. You pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, and we will pay for the book for you. It's our gift to you for watching the program and making a commitment to change your life. You're going to learn how to pay off your debt from this book. You're going to learn how to improve your relationship with this book. You're also going to learn how to grow your income in your current career or job, or how to find a better one. That's in First Steps to Wealth. We talked a lot about God in this segment, as in these last two segments as well. This book right here, so powerful, scripturally based about building wealth, building your career, and doing it all with keeping your family in balance. This is spirit-driven success. You can buy this from Walmart, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, or at DaniJohnson.com. If you go to DaniJohnson.com, you can find your copy of Spirit-Driven Success. I give it to you for free, but the publisher will not give it to us for free. So you go ahead and get your copy. They're charging us full price for the book ourselves, but you gotta buy this one. Okay, get a hold of these two books. Start reading them immediately. Start putting them in practice. When you call the office, ask Nate for information about First Steps to Success. You got to come out. Don't you want the life that these two just shared with you? Don't you want to have a life that other people look at as a model? You want that model relationship. You want the model relationship with the spouse and the kids. You want the model relationship at work. So start today. Don't wait. Start making those changes immediately. God bless you. We hope you enjoyed today's program. Hope to see you soon.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.